What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Losers Uprise post-game show. The Blazers lose another game. The Blazers lose another game. They play the Grizzlies twice in a row, and as you guys were told earlier in the season by the Blazers themselves, it's very hard to beat the same team twice in a row. Well, the Grizzlies just beat us twice in a row. The Blazers right now are pursuing the 8th seed for the second season in a row, Eric. But instead of pursuing the 8th seed from 9th place, they are pursuing the 8th seed from 7th place right now. The Grizzlies are in 8th place. Soon we should be able to say we're in 8th place at this rate. They are now only, a half game back of us, Eric?
Yep.
Yeah. So this stream is going to be shorter today, probably only an hour. Eric has to get vaccinated. It's the middle of the day. And, everything in terms of breaking down the game would be all the stuff that we tried to say all season long. We tried to warn you guys that this was not going to be pretty if the Blazers didn't fix their style of play. And, well, would you look at this? I think we're going to end up getting swept by the Grizzlies in 3 out of 4 games. Already lost 2 of them. Tried to tell you guys this was coming. A lot of you listened to me, so props to you. If you now realize that this team cannot succeed with this style of play, well, at least you're able to realize that now. I know a lot of people are finally holding the coaching accountable. Finally, it was CJ and Nurkic are going to fix everything. Well, CJ and Nurkic both had good games today, Eric. I saw some Nurkic hate. Or not some Nurkic hate. Oh, I saw Nurkic hate and I saw CJ hate. But Nurkic today, 6 for 13, not the most efficient night, but he has 16 points on 13 shots, 19 rebounds, 5 assists. Solid game from him. CJ, 10 for 21 from the field, 4 for 10 from the three-point line. He has 27 points, 3 assists. Not like great games, but solid games from them. Dame continues to struggle. This was kind of a carbon copy of last game. Robert Covington goes 0 for 7. Norman Powell has a solid game, goes 7 for 15, has 17 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Carmelo Anthony had a good fourth quarter stretch where he hit, I think, 4 threes in a row. But outside of that, he was terrible. He was 4 for 13 on the game, 4 for 8 from 3. This was I don't know. I would say it's a frustrating game, but there was times during this game, Eric, where I was just laughing. I was just laughing at what was happening because it's almost comical to me at this point. So, what are your feelings, Eric, right now?
My feelings are that I feel like this team has just given up, and they have the nice comeback at the end, but teams do not look the way they look at the first few minutes of this game when you are actually trying to fight and put in that urgency to save your season or whatever. It's more just like, oh crap, here we go again. Memphis is making shots. They had, I think it was 25 fast break points in the first half of this game after a game which they had 29 or something, and Stotts was saying that was way too much and that they're a fast game break team, and what do? They just come out of the gates flying up and down the court getting easy baskets, and we don't have any counter to it. It's just at halftime we have to hear the assistant coach say, oh, they're a good fast break team. Yeah, no crap, dude. Why don't you do something about it between the last game and this game? It's you're supposed to make adjustments and counteract that and try to do something to stop them from fast break, not give up more. It just makes no sense to me. This team is just, the coach is not doing his job. He needs to go. He should be fired right now. I don't give a crap about giving him till the end of the season, or no team has ever been in a playoff position and fired their coach with this amount of games left in the season or whatever. He's just causing this team to be so unprepared and so just, I don't know what the right, accepting all the players just seem to accept that this is their fate and they can't do any better and there's no way to change what they're doing. You know what I mean? Like it seems like everyone on the team has just accepted that Stotts' mindset is the only answer and that's how they have to approach games. And it's just not the case. It's just not the case. And I would just like to ask Terry, I hope someone asks him in this post-game conference tonight, are we in a funk yet, Terry? Are we?
That would be a great question, man. No, we've lost a lot of close games, and we were close down the stretch in this one, We just gotta hit a couple more shots. They gotta miss a couple more shots, and then we'll be good. That's the attitude around this team. I agree with you. It's, it's this team only played with heart and hustle in the final 5 minutes, and they almost came back. That should show you, if they just consistently play with heart and hustle, they should be able to win some of these games that they haven't. It's sad that, X's and O's wise and schematics has always been, our biggest critique, and they're still not good. It's still not good. Well, but it's sad that the biggest critique is now literally effort.
Yeah. Well, the problem is, the last few minutes, that's all, chaos and just pushing the ball up and getting some tempo, which we've also asked for all the last 2 years, right? But that's all. There was nothing special about those. It was just people making plays because they finally showed some urgency if they don't make these shots or get back in the game. The 4 shots Melo hit were all just spot up shots. A couple of them were with a guy in his face, contested threes. Those weren't anything special we're doing to design a play. And then when you have a guy hit 4 threes in a row, I watched Melo the next 4 possessions just stood at the 3-point line, just stood there with a guy on him, not leaving him. Obviously, he hit 4 in a row. His man isn't going to leave him. Why not have him go from one side of the court to the other, or set some sort of screen for him, or move him around, try to get him a shot again. And I promise you, the defense is going to overreact to stopping him since he's hit 4 in a row. And if you plan for that, then you will know that there was a secondary option that will be wide open if you just try a little bit of movement. But when you just stand him the frick in the corner or on the wing, and you just let's just dribble around and see what happens for 10 seconds and then throw it to someone at the end of the shot clock so they have to hook up a horrible shot with a guy in their face, that does not work. It hasn't worked. And he gets bailed out tonight looks like a okay offensive game because we scored 113 points or whatever, but our offense was absolutely terrible in this game. We did nothing. The ball movement was awful. The shot selection was awful. The amount of effort we put into getting guys quality shots was terrible. The amount of bad shots we settle for because our offense has no movement to it. It's just crazy to me. And then you watch everyone's saying oh, screw Dylan Brooks, that guy's an a-hole, he shouldn't be talking. Dude, I would love for some of our guys to have that kind of effort and grit right now. We need guys to step up like that. So I was hoping maybe that got him going because they were talking back to him. But honestly, we need guys like that who are going to be, instead of just accepting this is going to be our fate and how it's going to be, just no, I'm not going out like that. Screw that. Even if I look like a punk, I'm going to at least try to do that. And I'm not saying, for the record, to do it the way CJ did it tonight. Once again, CJ got frustrated. Dirty foul, flagrant foul. He's got to cut that crap out. That's not what I'm saying to do it. But just, you can tell Dylan Brooks wanted this game, and he backed it up with some of his shot making and defense in this one. And we don't have guys that seem to be fighting like that. We seem to have guys who back down when the going gets tough.
Yeah. I mean, you guys watching this, you guys in chat, you guys know what happened if you watch the game. I mean, even if you didn't watch the game, you would be able to know what happened because it's happened all year long, and it happened last game, and it happened the game before that, and it happened against the Hornets, and it is just something that is becoming the constant with this team. I mean, Eric, I think everyone knows Stotts is gone.
Mm-hmm.
The team knows it. Stotts knows it. The front office knows it. The ownership group knows it. Stotts, I mean, you have Jason Quick coming out and saying, yeah, there's a 95 to 98% chance that Stotts gets fired after this season. I mean, everybody knows this guy is gone. Mm-hmm. Why not fire him now?
Oh, dude, if everyone knows it, yeah, he has to be gone, like, now. We cannot just wait till the end of the season and let him continue to do this. Like, if you're going to fire him, just fire him. Like, there's no point in giving him a chance to salvage this season. He does not deserve it at this point, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, the team is playing like they know they have a lame duck head coach right now. They are playing like that. And Stotts is acting like that. Like, he's gone. Thank goodness. Like for all intents and purposes, he's on his way out. And he's going out with a whimper, okay? I mean, this team is on its way out of playoff position. Well, right now, you know, the argument that you said earlier, what team in playoff position has ever fired a head coach? Well, Eric, we're not in playoff position. We're only in play-in position. And at this rate, it's going to be a situation where we have to win 2 play-in games to get into the playoffs. And looking at this team play against the Grizzlies, I don't expect that to happen. I am at the point where I think if I had to bet, I would bet that the Blazers are not going to be playing in the first round at this point, which is just absolutely absurd to think about.
Yep. And now we have all the people saying, like, oh, look at all the predictor models from the beginning of the year. They were all right about this team. It just doesn't have talent and all this stuff. It's driving me crazy. But
yeah, right. It was this. Here's the thing. Those same people 2 years ago were saying those predictor models are so dumb because they always underrate us. But then now they want to put stock in it. It's stupid.
And let me just say this. So we always hear Olshey should get some of the blame for, you know, giving Stotts an extension and things like that. So, which I somewhat agree with. But here's the situation. Stotts was going into the last year of his contract after the Western Conference Finals run. So if he didn't get an extension and the team played like they did last year, then the whole season he's a lame duck coach from the beginning, because we probably wouldn't extend him at that point, right? So, like, I kind of get why they gave him an extension coming off that run. Obviously, you and I did not want that to happen, but you just made the Western Conference Finals, and we can debate, like, how much of his role was a part of that. But, like, this would have happened 2 years ago, coming off that Western Conference Finals run, if you allow a coach to. That's at least the thinking from a organizational mindset. Like, a lot of times, when coaches have 1 year left on their contract, they'll either be let go or they'll be extended just to do that, especially a guy in a situation like Stotts coming off of Western Conference Finals. But there are cases where you let the coach play out the year and see if he does anything, but I just think in this situation it was probably either let him go off a Western Conference Finals or give him a couple-year extension so he's not a lame duck. Obviously, that was not the right call, but I understand the thinking behind it.
Yep.
At the time.
I mean, at this point, Eric, shout out Reese. Reese always has, like, good little tidbits in chat. That's why it's good that his name is Blue, so his little tidbits stand out a little bit more. Like this one he has right here. Grizzlies have the 3rd easiest schedule. Mavericks have the 2nd easiest schedule. The Blazers have the 6th hardest schedule. The Grizzlies clinch the tiebreaker with us with this win. Okay, so even if we beat them 2 games from now, they still have the tiebreaker, right? They're tied with us in the loss column. Okay? Mm-hmm. They have 1 less win. Let's just see who they play next. Out of curiosity. They play the Nuggets. So maybe that's a game they lose. But regardless, this is a Grizzlies team that is likely to be ahead of us at the end of the season. I'll just read off the rest of their schedule. They got the Nuggets next game. Then they got the Blazers again. I mean, if they beat us, I can all but guarantee they're going to be ahead of us. Because then after that Blazers game, they have the Magic. They have the Magic again. They have the Knicks, which is 34-27, not a typical Knicks team. But then after that, the Timberwolves, the Pistons, the Raptors, the Pelicans, the Mavericks, the Kings twice, and the Warriors. Okay? That's the rest of the schedule for the Memphis Grizzlies. They are now healthier than they've been at any point this season. They are playing maybe I wouldn't say the best basketball this season. This Blazers team is trash, and they're only 5-5 in their last 10. But this is a team that has a very easy schedule the rest of the way. Let's look at the Blazers' schedule, just for context, just for comparison. The Blazers got the Pacers and then the Grizzlies again. Then they got the Nets. They got the Celtics. They got the Hawks, they got the Cavs, they got the Lakers, which could be a healthy Lakers team with LeBron and AD. They got the Spurs, they got the Rockets, they got the Jazz, they got the Suns, they got the Nuggets. I mean, at this point, I think the tighter race is going to be between Portland and San Antonio, or Portland and Golden State. Because right now, San Antonio is only a game and a half behind us, Eric. That's ninth.
Are we closer to the Pelicans than the Nuggets now? Did I see that right?
Yeah, we're 7 games behind the Nuggets. You know how we were tied with them for a month straight? Yeah, we're 7 games behind the Nuggets. We're only 6 games ahead of 11th, but I don't think we're going to fall that far. That would be a monumental collapse. That would be impressive. But, I mean, we're only a game and a half ahead of 9th. Only 1 game ahead of San Antonio in the loss column. We are currently 2 games ahead of 10th, which is Golden State. Golden State plays later tonight, and I think it's an easy game for them. Let's see here. Does anybody know who Golden State plays later? I can find it. Here we go.
I got you.
See if you
it is the Kings.
Yeah, they got the Kings. So we could be a game and a half ahead of 10th with a very hard schedule the rest of the way. I mean, guys, if I had to bet, I would bet on this team not playing in the first round right now. Basically missing the playoffs, which is insane given the roster that they have. Which just speaks to the volumes at which Stotts has failed this team. I didn't think... Eric, we've been being honest and calling it like it is and criticizing the coaching. I think I could speak for you, too. We didn't think it would get this bad, did we?
No. I mean, whether you like Stotts or not, you can always say at least the players liked him and would go to war for him. But I don't even think you could say that anymore. I think that, like you said, the team knows he's done and they're not. I mean, if you truly didn't want your coach to get fired, you would be doing everything you could right now to not get him fired, right? Yeah. not showing up and losing these games.
Yeah, and I mean, at this point, I'm not rooting against the Spurs or the Warriors, Eric. I'm not necessarily rooting for them. I'm not rooting against them, because if we fall to 9th, I would rather fall to 10th. If we're going to fall to 9th or 10th, we're going to have to play that playing game anyway. I would rather it be a
2
situation...
players on the road.
Yeah, I'd rather it be a situation where we could get up to 12th. Because here's the situation. If we fall to... let me do math here. If we fall to 10th... If we fall to 9th or 10th and then that team that we face in that first playing games beats us and then wins the next game and plays its way into the playoffs, we would be... What? We'd be the 13th pick. But I would take that. You know what I mean? At this point, it's if it's going to be this bad, and if we are possibly going to miss the first round, or if we make the first round, we get swept, which is kind of what it seems like would happen, then at that point, I'm cool with, hoping that our lottery odds are better. If they're 14th, they have a 2.4% chance at the top 4, a 0.5% chance at number 1 overall. If they're 13th, those odds double. 4.8% chance top 4, 1% chance at number 1 overall. So if we're in a playing game, the 9th, 10th playing game, and if we're 10th, if we lose, we're automatically 13th. If we're 9th and we lose, and then the team that was 10th then wins the next game and plays its way into the playoffs, then we're also 13th. So I know it's a little confusing with the play-in situation, but that's kind of where we're at right now.
Yep. Let's get to some donos so I don't get too far behind here. William Seamus Shakespeare, $2 donation, says Terrence must be extended with 3 penguins. Yeah, I'm assuming that's being sarcastic.
I'd rather hire those penguins. I have all the donations here if you want me to read them off.
Yeah,
I got like a feed.
Okay.
ISO Also, I wanted to take the pressure off you to pronounce, because I'm butchering this name. Apologies to Ayusu Estramera. Sorry if I butchered your name. I appreciate the I can't talk. I appreciate the donation. 5 euros, right? That's euros? Yes. Cool. I'm proud of myself. The quote says, "My only motivation at this point is this Blazers Uprise channel. No way Stotts is coaching the team and in Indiana." And yeah, we're all on this ride together. We're all on this sinking ship together. So we can all go down together. I don't know. It's frustrating, but this stream and this community makes it better. Also, what needs to get better is my pronunciation of things, because I'm butchering everything. Shout out Spaceman Trooper for the 5. What's that symbol mean, Eric?
I can't even find. I lost my feed, so.
I don't know what that currency is, but it's 5, so I appreciate it. Spaceman Trooper says, "It looks like the players aren't playing for Stotts anymore. They want him gone. This happens a lot in the Premier League in England, in soccer." Yeah, I mean, that's the vibe I'm getting from this team. It's very weird. It's very weird, because this team always generally played hard, and that was kind of like the one thing people could point to, and now you can't even point to that. Now it's a negative. Now it's a thing to be critical of, and it's been like that all season. The team has been critical of itself in that regard. Shout out Play by Play for 3 $5 donations. That's $15 in donations. I'll read them all off. His first comment says, "What an inbounds play from Stotts down 3 with the ball. Back-to-back nights where Stotts ran terrible inbound plays in critical moments. This is sad." I mean, at least he ran something else, but yeah, his inbound play got blown up once again, and we've seen that over the years where inbound plays near the end of games get blown up by defenses for whatever reason.
2 problems I had with that play. 1, why is Rocco in the game there and not Melo? Melo had been, has been clutch before. Rocco was, I believe, 0 for 6 from 3 at that point. I think he missed one after that. So I don't know. I don't understand why Rocco's in the game for this particular game. I mean, if it was like another game like a few weeks ago where he was on fire, then I totally understand it. But in this situation, I think you just got to die with your best offensive personnel in that situation. And second of all, why do we never have a second option on plays? Because we have this thing where it was meant to just get Nurk the ball basically in a similar position to where he got it in the similar position last night or Friday night. But when that got taken away or Norm couldn't get him the ball, everyone else was guarded and just standing there, and there was nowhere for him to go with it. And he threw kind of a short pass to Rocco. If he would have thrown it a little further, it might have gotten out to him. But there still wasn't any sort of like, okay, so just in case Nurk gets covered on this, here is the secondary option. I want you to look for CJ curling off into this space or something. And this is like this with a lot of our offense. It's like the 3 players that aren't involved stand around, and if the pick and roll isn't there or something like that, or if those guys stay home on the shooters on the defense, like we don't have a way to get up a shot, and then we're constantly throwing up crap against contested defense. And it drives me crazy that an NBA team is this disorganized when it comes to running plays and stuff like that. And I always make comparisons to the NFL where like in the NFL you do plays where it's setting the other team up to think this is going to happen in this situation. And that's why like the 49ers were really good 2 years ago, because they had so many different formations, and they would change the formations, and then the defense would think, oh, they're into this formation, they're going to run this, and then they'd run it like 3 times, and then just when you think they're going to run it again, they'd run like a variation of it where you think it's going to happen the same way, and they have another option off of it, and it's wide open, or it goes for a big play. And this is the kind of like coaching you need, not only in football but like in basketball. You need to have things to where you have to have something where late in a game you've been running certain things a certain way and you have to change it up a little bit to do something different. And I feel like we don't ever have any variations or really any kind of creativity at all when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Yep. Next donation from Play by Play said, only positive is that each loss is closer to Stotts being fired. The day he is gone, there should be a parade in the streets of Portland. Well, we will have a stream, and I don't know. That stream will be interesting. That stream will be fun. You know, I'm not going to be like super like acting like we won the NBA Finals or anything. Right. That's kind of weird.
Champagne on that.
But like, it'll be a big sigh of relief for me and for a lot of you guys.
I think it'll be more like just finally. Thank you.
Exactly. The third play-by-play donation said, can we get another segment of How Not to Coach with Terry Stotts today? That is the plan. If you guys can DM me the link to the Stotts interview, I will watch it. We'll watch it as soon as possible because honestly, this game, we're going to break down probably less than any game we've broken down just because it's all the same issues. We just played this team. I mean, we can touch on maybe a couple players, but I mean, what's the point? It's more just about the situation the team is in now, not necessarily their style of play, because their style of play is not getting fixed. Earlier in the season, it was, this is what they need to do to improve their style of play if they want a chance in the playoffs. Well, they have all but ran out of time, and they haven't made any progress. They've made no progress. Their defense is still bad. Their offense is still stagnant. They've made no progress. So I don't even expect anything. There's no point to even like point out areas of progress at this point because they're not going to fix it, and it almost seems like they don't even care to fix it. So why should I care to point out what they're doing wrong if they don't even really care to address it? You know.
And what was the mindset after the Boston loss? Do you remember what they were saying?
I mean, they said they liked the way they played. They liked the offense in the first half. Mm-hmm. They put up 60 points in that first half and moved the ball pretty well. The offense in the first half against Boston was a flash in the pan. See, and I told you guys not to expect that consistently. I wasn't wrong. But yeah, that was the mindset. They liked what they did.
And then Stotts had like an interview or something in between that game and the next game, and he's like, yeah, I really think we need to focus on moving the ball like that. And I think at one point it was like late in the or middle of the third quarter, and we had like 7 assists in this game. It's just. Yep.
Ben says Nurkic tagging Vanderpool on Instagram. Is there something behind that? Is that recent or is that?
Oh no, that was from today. He sent me. Let me find it. I used to also sent me this earlier. So. This is from it was from yesterday, and it was a picture of Nurk walking into the stadium with like a suit on, and it says "Stay solid, solid is enough" at David Vanderpool, hashtag has Moj, and hashtag Rip City.
Huh, that's kind of interesting.
It seems really random that he would tag Vanderpool in that, unless that's something that like some kind of advice he's given him or something.
Yeah, I don't know. That's definitely interesting to say the least. Shout out Mills Woj for $5 donation. Said, do you guys think national media will call attention to this? It's getting crazy. This hurts Dame's legacy if we miss the playoffs with this roster. I'm not worried about Dame's legacy at this point. I'm worried about how this team can try and win a championship.
Let me just say this. Worldwide Wob, he had a tweet late in this game. He said something to the effect of, paraphrasing, Stotts just stood up. Is that because he's going to coach or because his seat was really hot?
I have the tweet right here. Yeah, is Terry Stotts standing up because he wants to, or is that seat too hot to sit on? Yeah, I mean, the national media, I think, is realizing it. You had what are they called? It's hard to say it, like hardwood Pex or whatever it is, the like Grizzlies guy, hardwood paroxysm, you know who I'm talking about, HP basketball on Twitter. They had a tweet that said like just a number of things. The Blazers' crunch time execution has been worse than Memphis's somehow. What else did they say?
And Grayson Allen tried to give us this game. He was terrible on the
this dude tweets a lot. But at some point during this game, he tweeted out like, the Blazers just run so much ISO. I'm so like, it's so weird or something like that. And it's like, well, welcome to Blazers basketball.
Last night, I saw a bunch of tweets from B-Ball Breakdown, which I retweeted, that was talking about, I forgot what game they were watching, but I think it might have been the Laker game or something, talking about how when a team traps, you can't just continue to run ISO and pick and roll and all that stuff. Yet this is someone who has constantly defended Stotts as being a genius, and all of his offensive sets are completely great, and he's not the problem. Yet he was saying everything that we've been saying about Stotts last night, only about another coach.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just a rough situation at this point. But I think a lot of people are realizing, Raptor fans, I heard Raptor fans were watching our games for Powell and they were getting triggered at Stotts, it's, I mean, the book is out, or whatever the saying is, like the blueprint is out on how to beat the Blazers, and the secret is out on how bad the Blazers play in terms of their style basketball, which I don't know how people didn't realize it before now, but people are finally realizing it. And now this team is not playing hard for Stotts, so I think it's like you don't even have that to fall back on. So a lot of people are now forced to hold the coaching accountable.
I think the smart people are realizing that. I think there is still a lot of people who constantly come up for excuses for Stotts, who have now completely just gone all in on blaming the personnel and the trade for Norman Powell, the 3-guard lineup, Nurk sucking, all that kind of stuff.
I feel like they just are so obviously silly now at this point. I mean, like we don't even have to. We've brought up arguments that people give us that are just ridiculous, and we've argued against them. We don't even need to do that. Norman Powell trade ruined our season. It ruined our chemistry. Bro, our chemistry should not be that fragile. If that's the case, then it's not a Norman Powell trade issue. It's an issue that we had before and would have had regardless. Norman Powell's a better player than Gary Trent Jr., man. We were playing easier teams earlier in the year. Now we had a harder schedule. And what was I saying when everybody was like, why aren't you happy that you're 10 games above 500? We won
6 in a row.
I said, we are playing an insanely easy schedule. Wait till the schedule gets harder. These problems are going to come back to bite us in the butt. Guess what? We've lost 10 of 13 games. It's April 25th. This is that stretch of the season that I talked about all year long. And it's going down even worse than I expected. Eric, we have, I think, 2 wins over above 500 teams in the past 2 months and change, and one of them was against Miami, and on that night they didn't have Jimmy Butler or Goran Dragic, so that doesn't even count as an above 500 team, right? So essentially we have 1 win against above 500 teams in the past 2 months and change. And it was against Dallas, and guess what? Then we played Dallas again the next game after that, and they beat us by 40. So it's funny. I don't know.
Right now we are 3-13 against the top 8 in the West. And if you take Dallas, the 2-1 against Dallas, we're 1-11 against the other teams, the other 6 teams. So
that's comically bad. That's terrible, bro. And we got a lot of those teams coming up too. I mean, that's this team might finish below 500. They are 32-28. They would have to go to be at 500, 4-8 the rest of the way. My PS4 is randomly turning on again. Cool. My PS4 is angry. Yeah, I mean, we have to go 4-8 to finish at 500. At this point, I wouldn't rule out us finishing below 500.
Oh man, yeah. can't believe we're talking about this. So I mean, I know Dame missed a few games and he's hurt and stuff, but like, I don't know. It's not like the games when we played the Clippers, they were without Kawhi and stuff, and Serge and Patrick Beverley, so they were down 3 starters as well. It's not like we played them at full strength and only lost by 1 because we didn't have Dame or something, you know?
Yeah. I'm going to thank the rest of the donations. Jimmy Cleveland, $5 dono, says, now I know what Dame and Nurkic meant by saying that it's up to the players to figure it out. Well, yeah, I mean, even more so than I thought before. Appreciate the dono from Jimmy Cleveland. Near012 has a $5 dono, says, can't wait for next year. New coach, no Melo, minutes for Ian Little. Yeah, next year should be fun. I mean, their roster is in a decent position going into next year, and I expect them to be a bit aggressive, and a new coach, and Little should hopefully get a consistent chance, and he has a chance to break out, I think. Next year will be fun, and that's kind of what I'm holding on to, you know. You'll have fans back in the stands, or should have fans back in the stands, fingers crossed, knock on wood, all that stuff. And that's in 6 months. I mean, we still have, our season should end late May? I mean, short off season, honestly. And we'll have the finals in July and maybe the Olympics to talk about. Maybe Dame plays in that. Yeah, the offseason is going to be a lot of fun, and next season should be fun. So really, it's almost like the rest of the season we have to continue to take our lumps as fans, and then there's a lot to look forward to after that. So that's why I'm not sitting here like depressed or super mad. I'm kind of just resigned to this is what it's going to be, but there is a lot to look forward to. Would you agree with that, Eric?
I mean, yeah, I'm just, even though I agree with that, it's just, I mean, I'm so depressed that we are sitting here in the middle of this season with this roster talking about looking forward to next year. That just, I will never get over that.
Yeah. Is what it is. Jimmy Cleveland, $5 dono, another one. Says, did y'all notice the president of basketball for the Trailblazers team was at the game? Yes, Chris McGowan was at the game. And probably didn't like what he was seeing. Maybe he was at the game because he's planning on firing Stotts in the next 5 minutes. I don't know.
Well, if he's firing Stotts, that's probably not good for Olshey either.
Probably not, but, I mean, honestly, if Olshey goes too, I'm not, like, completely against it. I'm just kind of on that. Like, Stotts just needs to go. I know a lot of people are, like, flip-flopped with that, but the last donation that we've had is William Seamus Shakespeare, another $2 dono, says, Trash Can Blazers have taken out their tents. Whatever that means, yes. They've taken out the tents. They are... Yeah, is that a saying, Eric?
I think he's just trying to make a joke about the homeless situation.
Oh, yeah, maybe something like that. Go ahead.
Let's now that we're caught up on the donos, let's talk about what was that? I want to talk about Dame for a second. So Block Boy says this up above. He says, so I ask again, Stotts sounds easy, but is our best player who's having a horrible April not to be held accountable any for our struggle?
Bro, we've literally talked about how bad he's playing. We did it last stream. Bro, you want us to sit here and say Damian Lillard sucks, he's ass, blah, 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 all that type of stuff. It's kind of weird that you are sitting here basically, in my eyes, begging us to say that, to slander Dame. That's the thing with Melo fans, man. And if, like, Melo plays an identical game to Dame, Block Boy, which is kind of what happened. You know, Melo 4 for 13, Dame 8 for 27. Field goal percentage-wise, pretty similar. I think they shot identical from 3. I mean, they both played very bad today. But you got the Melo stands in here. You know, they hype up Melo hitting 4 shots in 3 minutes, despite the fact that the rest of the game, he didn't hit a single shot, right? But then they'll be in here, you know, after hyping up Melo for 4 shots in 3 minutes when he's 4 for 13, they'll be in here basically begging us to slander Dame. It's so silly. I am so tired of it. Well, I don't even want to talk about it. It's annoying.
I do want to talk about it, just to say this. we are slandering Stotts because for 9 seasons now, he's had Damian Lillard that entire time. This guy relies on Dame to be superhuman and perfect all the freaking time. And so he has 1 month where he's freaking struggling, he's banged up, he's hurt, he can't get a single like good shot or good offense run to get him uncontested shots. He has to save Stott's butt once again. And oh man, he can't do it for the first time. Like he can't do it. Like it's just ridiculous. This guy has no plan to get Dame going. He has no plan to get Dame a shot when he's struggling. It's the same thing with Melo, same thing with CJ, same thing with Powell, same thing with everyone. It's a situation where the coach has no game plan other than to hope these guys make a bunch of shots and save his butt. And it's gotten to the point now where Dame is trying his butt to save this team, and he can't even do that. And I mean, yeah, he had a bad game. He's playing bad this month. Whatever. There's no way around that. He's playing bad, but like he's put in a position where he either has to like be superhuman or he looks like this. And if we had a better coach, I truly believe that all of these players, from Melo to Dame down to Nas and Ant and all these guys, would look so much better or more comfortable in these situations, and we wouldn't have these situations where we mess around with crappy teams and get lucky at the end because Dame makes a couple threes, or situations where we can't even beat a good team no matter what we do. It's just, it makes me mad that like people just turn on the players so fast. We've been telling you guys all along, they are not well coached. And if you are not well coached, you have to basically go out there and do it all. And on top of everything else, I'm not making excuses for Dame, but he also has injuries. He obviously probably shouldn't. It was bad enough to where he sat out some pretty important games for this season. So it obviously was an injury that's not just like, oh, they're just resting Dame. They don't do that with him. So he wouldn't have sat out like against the Clippers if he was not like actually hurt right now. So I just want to make it clear that need to get some
yeah, you need that water, man. You need a little water break there.
I just want to make it clear that the coaching is putting him in this position. And I'll even make the point defensively, this guy Stotts has made it so entrenched in Dame that he doesn't have to do anything on defense. He's not the problem. He doesn't hold him accountable. He's not. So Dame like just goes around and excuse me.
That's what you kind of needed Vanderpool for, because Vanderpool, I felt like, was willing to hold Dame a little bit accountable like that.
And so yeah, exactly. And you can say Dame should take it upon himself, but like, what's he supposed to do if his coach is constantly saying, no, just hide over here, don't worry about it, like, oh, and then the ball gets kicked around and he has to step onto defense and he's like, oh crap, I'm out of position, whatever. Like, it's just, yes, he should be better. Yes, he can play better. Yes, he can still make a lot of these shots. He can still step up on defense and give a lot more effort on that end. But this guy is playing, obviously, while dealing with some stuff. And the coach still, like, he played him 20 minutes in the first half of this game. Like, is that how you treat a guy who's banged up and you need this game? And we're down double digits anyway. What's the point of running him into the ground when we're losing anyway? It's just like, at some point, you got to either make his job easier while he's out there or just sit him, because I don't think we're doing him any favors right now, and only bad can come of this at this point of the season. I don't think it's a case where playing him 40 minutes is going to all of a sudden snap him out of his funk and he's going to be fine. You know, like I think he needs to be both in a better situation coaching-wise and a better situation health-wise.
Yep. So you have a Dame quote out that says, "We're not the Brooklyn Nets. They have superstar power. You know the ability of that team. One day they can get hot and run you out of a gym. We're not that team, but we've been in a ditch and we're fighting. We're figuring out a way to get out of it." That's Dame's quote that I just saw on Twitter. I don't know. I'm not planning on watching the Dame interview, but it's just going to be, yeah, we're going to figure this out and yada yada, the same stuff for all season. I'm interested to hear his thoughts, see if there's anything that makes us, or makes Eric rage, because I'd be down for that entertainment. That'd be fun. If anybody has a Stotts interview link, feel free to DM it to me. Shout out shout out Luke Lindikoff, $3 dono, says we need a Monty Williams style coach. Monty Williams would be dope. I'd be down for Monty Williams. Obviously, we're not going to get Monty Williams because he's doing a great job in Phoenix, but I would have been down for Monty Williams when he was available. We need a coach like that. I agree. And then shout out William Seamus Shakespeare, another $2 dono. He says, no guys, trash can Blazers are packing it in tense. I still don't get it, but I appreciate another dono on it. Anyway, all right. I don't know. I don't know what to say at this point. Waiting on a Stotts interview link. Waiting. I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll talk with chat unless there's something else you want to touch on from this game, Eric.
No. Just everything drives me crazy watching the Blazers. It's like, oh, they're good in transition. Well, then stop them in transition. They're Melo hit 4 shots in a row. Like, well, yeah, why don't you try giving him a quality look then? If he's hitting like crazy threes, like why not try running a play for him next time down the court? Everything bugs me. It's just so I don't know what the right word is, but the whole coaching staff just seems lazy to me. They don't do anything to they say all the right things, but they don't do it with their actions. And I mean, we've heard that before too.
Yep. Are you holding your mic right now?
Nope.
Oh, sounds like you're almost rubbing your mic or something. I don't know what that was. Yeah, it's frustrating, man. I mean, it's the same stuff that we were worried about to start the season. It's the same stuff we talked about last year. Last year it was, oh, we're so injured, what do you expect? And I was trying to explain how the issues weren't personnel-based. And now we're at the end of the season, healthier than ever, great roster, and we still have all these issues because, as I said, they're not personnel-based. We've been saying this stuff for a long time. I mean, the thing is, we might finish just as bad as we did last year, which is crazy. It was, we don't have Nurkic, and we don't have a wing defender, and we don't have this, we don't have that. Well, we got all that stuff back, and we might finish with an almost identical record to last year, Eric. That's crazy.
Jeffrey Chang says, I bet like 20 on this game. Damn. Yeah, don't bet on the Blazers.
Don't bet on the Blazers. That is silly at this point. If we have Blazers and picks against the spread, I know everybody's going against them. Luckily, we've been avoiding that. The only days the Blazers don't play is like Saturday, so we'll have Saturdays off, but then Monday, Thursdays, so we still have our Blazers Uprise live stream, so we're basically been streaming 6 days a week for you. Shout out Near012, $5 dono. Your thoughts about trying to get Becky Hammond as head coach? She learned from Pop. I mean, if they think it's the right hire for basketball reasons, I'm 100% down. Okay? They got to base the hire off of certain basketball things. They need to have an idea of how they want this team to play, and they have to go out and get a coach that they think will instill those things.
Mm-hmm. She would definitely be on my list for interviewees, 100%, along with the multiple of other names that we've mentioned, 100 times this year. But I agree with you. This doesn't just apply to her, it applies to anyone. I would be specifically looking for certain answers and certain ideas or ideologies, both off the court and how you approach, adjusting and things like that. And then also, like, within the game, how you would counteract a lot of the issues. It's not very hard to look at what those issues are, like how you would fix the defense, how you would fix the Dame getting trapped situation, how you fix the problem with mostly contested shots, like those kind of things. And I would be looking for specific answers for those. And if she gave the right answers to those, I would absolutely have no problem giving her a shot.
Yep. Shout out to Michael Ormy, or I probably butchered that, but $2 dono says Blazers lose all of the next 12 games. Call it. I don't think that's gonna happen. I think they'll beat the Cavs. I think they'll find a way to like pull out a couple games here and there. But I mean, honestly, my prediction at this point, I mean, we predicted the rest of the schedule on a Blazers Uprise Live thing, and I think they're already behind pace, aren't they?
Oh, they've lost every game since we did that.
Yeah. Oh, it's our fault. I mean, I think.
No, I'm not saying it's our fault, but they're over since then. So
I think out of the next two games, they win one out of the two against Indiana and Memphis. Okay. And then they lose against Brooklyn. That would leave them 3 games above 500. I think they lose against the Celtics 2 games above 500. I think they win one of the Hawks and Cavs. Hawks could be without Trae Young. So maybe they win them both. But we'll still say 2 games above 500. I think they lose against the Lakers 1 game above 500. Say they'll beat one of the Rockets and the Spurs, leave them 1 game above 500. Then they got the Jazz, Suns, Nuggets. I think they win 1 out of those 3 because like the Nuggets might rest people. That would leave them at 500. I think right now, if I had to predict it, they go 4-8 and finish at 500.
Olivia says she DM'd you the link.
Cool.
And
it dropped. I just got 3 DMs. Shout out to everybody who DM'd me the link. Appreciate it.
I completely agree with completely disagree with what's not 19. He says, yes, they are better than this, but not enough to make a jump significantly defensive-wise to the top 5 in the West. Yeah, I mean...
There's a big difference between top 5 in defense and 29th.
Well, I think he's saying into the top 5 seeding-wise, but like we were right there. We were right there. We were not that far off a pace from being right there. Mm-hmm. And if it's truly about the personnel and the talent level for defense, explain to me how the Lakers stayed as one of the top defensive teams in the league without LeBron and AD, and how the Knicks have gone from one of the worst defensive teams this year to or last year to one of the better teams this year. Mm-hmm. It doesn't make sense to constantly blame the players for something that's scheme related.
The Knicks have a better record than us. They're 7 games about 500. We're 4. I mean, personnel wise, they're not better than us. I'm looking at like Denver right now. I'm missing Jamal Murray. They're not better than us. The Lakers have been without AD and LeBron for a long time. Personnel wise, I don't think Dallas is better than us. Honestly, I look at a team like Phoenix. I don't think personnel wise they're like head and shoulders better than us. Like, I'm not going to say Portland has better personnel than Phoenix, but I think they're pretty comparable. Mm-hmm. I think Dame is better than anybody on Phoenix. I think CJ and Booker have some similarities. Booker is better, but CJ can do a lot of things that Booker can do. Nurkic, healthy, I think, is in the same tier as Ayton. And then you look at like Mikal Bridges. We got Robert Covington, Cam Johnson. I don't know who's their 5th player. Maybe Cam Johnson. We got.
Did you say Mikal?
Yeah, I said Mikal. We got Robert Covington, right? Cam Johnson. We got Norman Powell. I take Norman Powell over Cam Johnson 10 out of 10 times. You know what I mean? Like their pieces fit a little bit better, but personnel wise, like we have a comparable team to them. They are 42-18. We're 32-28. We're 10 games behind them and falling while they've been playing good basketball. I mean, you look at Utah, 44-16. Is their personnel really that much better than ours? Jay Crowder is a guy people tossed out there. I mean, we got Derrick Jones Jr. I mean, Jay Crowder is better, but we got like players of a similar mold. I think personnel-wise, it would be hard for me to put Phoenix ahead of us. I mean, you look at Utah, and it's honestly their personnel. You wouldn't expect them to be 44-16, but they're a very well-coached team.
I'll just say this: if you want to say those two teams have more talent than us, fine, but it's not this much more talent.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so what's not 19 once again says it was the soft schedule, which yeah, we agree that was part of it. But he says coaching is the main issue, but point of attack D is bad. Well, I'll just bring this to a quote that Kevin Durant had tonight about how they put pressure on Chris Paul and didn't let him get comfortable like teams that played drop scheme on him do. And that's something that if you want to keep mentioning the point of attack, we do not play aggressively at the point of attack. So I agree with you that the point of the attack is the issue, but that is not a personnel-based thing. You can play aggressive at the point of attack whether you have a bad defensive team or not. And the coaches that get the most out of their teams play aggressively in those situations, not, just sag back and play conservative and let the defense dictate whatever shot they want to get.
Amar says you gave up your best young player and gave up 2 first-round picks for Covington. Why? Who was the young player we gave up in that deal?
I'm guessing he's combining the Trent and Covington trades.
Yeah, I don't really know. That's kind of random. But yeah, we got Terry Stotts, so let's listen.
All right, let's go.
You sound excited. Will they give us an ad off the bat? Probably. Yeah. Good old BioFreeze.
There's no tomorrow, but tomorrow always comes.
There, give BioFreeze
Next
some free
question's coming
advertisement.
from AJ McCord with Coin.
Harry, can you walk us through what happens after the game as much as you can when you guys...
Eric, this is 8 minutes. Are you ready? Just want to make sure.
Wait,
it's 8 minutes.
They say next question. I want to.
Yeah, I don't know. This is the very start, and they said next question, so I don't know if Terry lost it on Jason Quick or something, but yeah.
Next question's coming from AJ
James says-
McCord with Coin.
Jim says BioFreeze hasn't done anything for Dim.
Through what happens after the game as much as you can when you guys go back to the locker room? Do you have an immediate conversation with the team? Does everyone sort of regroup individually? What's the communication look like after the game, right?
You mean after a win or after a loss?
Sorry,
I'm sorry?
after this game in particular.
There's not a lot to say. Usually I keep my words pretty short after a loss.
After this game.
As I said, I usually keep my words pretty short after a loss. Come in, wait for the box scores. Players begin undressing, come in, very short statement. There's not a lot to say after a loss. I think it's best to evaluate the game on video before you say too much about the game. So obviously there are some times where, more is said, but I think after a loss, less is more.
Aaron.
Obviously not. Obviously not. I don't want. I'm just gonna keep playing it. Oh God.
Wait, just real quick, maybe this is the problem why there's no accountability, because it's always like, we got to watch film. I don't really know what went wrong. What is there to say? All this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Go in there and freaking choose someone out. I don't give a crap. Quit. At this point, if you've given up and you think you're going to be fired, why not just go down, at least showing some fight yourself and trying to get these guys motivated to turn your season around?
Yep. Near Zero says you're supposed to hit the points of a loss when the emotion is still raw. Yeah, I mean, when it's you should be able to know. At halftime, it's like, what are they saying? Oh, well, we're not gonna say anything at halftime because we can't watch film, and saying things doesn't make sense without watching film. No, you would normally have a halftime speech, right?
No, he said he doesn't believe in halftime speeches. He's
right.
He's very clear about that. Yeah, so that's why we don't adjust to halftime, because we don't have enough time to watch film.
And then that explains some of the terrible third quarters we've had. I mean, if they come out with piss poor effort for the whole first half, and you're not saying something about it at halftime, you shouldn't be a coach. You should not be a coach.
Mm-hmm.
Just plain and simple. Hold players accountable. Yeah, let's listen to the next one. I'm sure we'll pause like 5 more times for some of the stuff that's going to come out this guy's mouth.
Fentress with the Oregonian.
Here's a good old Fentress question.
Coach, aside from Damian's ankle, which may be bothering him today, he's having a miserable month, one of the worst of his career. Is there something else going on with him? Is he just completely fatigued, worn out?
You'd have to ask him. He hasn't said anything to me, so you'd have to ask him.
Okay, thanks.
Jamie Hudson with NBC Sports Northwest.
Coach doesn't even know about his star player that he's running into the ground.
Yeah. How many minutes did he play tonight? How many minutes did Dame play tonight? Let me find it right here, because I actually wanted to just point this out. Sorry, I don't have the box score up. Dame ended up playing 37 minutes. Rocco played 38. CJ played 38. Anyway.
Categorize the overall chippiness in this one.
It was definitely chippy. There was a lot of talking, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but yeah, it was. I think it was chippy both ways, no question.
Dwight James, NBC Sports Northwest.
Don't let us down, Dwight.
Gary, what was the plan on the out-of-bounds play late on the baseline there? That's 2 games in a row where you've had a play like that. The other time you did get it inbound to Nurk and he missed the shot, but tonight you had trouble getting it inbound. What are you trying to do there?
Well, it was a different play than last game. It was pick-to-picker action. Dame screens for CJ, Nurk screens
Pat me
for
on the
Dame,
back. I ran a different play.
and then goes to the basket. So.
And it's like literally the most basic inbound play ever, Eric. Screen the screener. Oh, wow. So innovative. Oh, my.
Nurk screens for Dame, and then goes to the basket. So they did a good job of taking it away. Rocco was an outlet. Probably should have called timeout when none of the options came open.
Yeah. Dang, it almost sounded like he almost took accountability for something, Eric.
Yeah.
Probably should have called timeout. But, maybe he meant the inbounder probably should have called timeout.
Powell should have called timeout, not him.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
Sean Hyken, Bleacher Report.
Sean Hyken.
Terry, both in the first and third quarter, you kind of brought Rondé in when in the spot where you normally brought Cantor in, just kind of in the rotation. I'm just wondering, is that something you were just kind of did this game for the matchup, or is that something you're kind of playing around with just for going forward, or what was?
No, it was primarily for tonight. We want to keep Ennis out of pick and rolls with Morant. So if Morant was in, I didn't want to necessarily have Ennis in. So that was the reasoning behind that. We did a good job. With Rondé out there with Rocco and Melo, we can do more switching and not get committed into doubling or trapping or giving up penetration.
Going back to Jason Quick with The Athletic.
Coach, for the greater part of this month, and particularly in the last week or so, you guys have been out of sorts. I mean, this isn't the Blazers that we've kind of come to know. Have you been able to ascertain what's going on, or how would you describe kind of the feel around the team?
I think we're a little frustrated right now. I think
I wouldn't say we're out of sorts, though. Wouldn't say that, right? I would love Eric. I want him to say that so bad. So yeah, I mean, you should be frustrated. Should be more than a little frustrated, though. I paused right in the middle of his answer just to make that joke, but yeah, they are in a funk. Why? Quick, you had the perfect chance to just say. So now it seems like you guys are really in a funk. Oh, I wish you did it. Anyway,
what's going on, or how would you describe kind of the feel around the team?
I think we're a little frustrated right now. I think, you look at some of these games and the 1-point losses. I don't think we're out of sorts against Boston or against San Antonio or Denver.
You said
or
it.
Clippers. So I think recently we've been playing good basketball and came up short in some close games. Depends on how far back you want to go. I know you asked that question a couple weeks ago, and I think in the last 2 weeks, we've played well.
Bruh, you guys have lost 5 games in a row at home. That's not playing well. Losing by a little instead of a lot is not playing well. You're acting like you're coaching a bottom feeder. This isn't the Orlando Magic, who is running out Devin Kennedy and Robert Franks, who I dropped 16 on my senior year. That's how bad he is of an NBA player. I mean, I'm not trying to hate on Robert Franks. I have nothing against him. But, I mean, come on. You're not playing guys on 10-day contracts, bro. This is just...
He did actually tonight.
Oh, I mean, one guy on a 10-day. But, I mean, Ronnie Hollis Jefferson been like, dude, it's just, he's acting. Okay, his whole, like, vibe is that he thinks he's coaching a team like the Minnesota Timberwolves or the Orlando Magic.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, you know, we lost close games. I don't think we're out of sorts. You know, we've been playing well. Bro, how can you say we've been playing well with a straight face? That's comical. I made the joke about him saying, oh, we're not out of sorts, and then he went out and said it.
Yeah, and, I mean, San Antonio were down by, 16 or 17 late in the third quarter or something of that game.
Mm-hmm.
Had to come back and won it. Denver and Clippers, we disappear in clutch time in both of those games. It's just Grizzlies. We didn't seem prepared for their style of play at all. Like, I don't know.
Yep.
This guy's got to go.
Sanji said he was at the game when I dropped 16 on Evergreen, so I guess Sanji has watched me play. Sanji, there's my proof. Shout out Jimmy Cleveland, $5 donation, says, when the BioFreeze commercial came on, I thought it was Terry Stotts running from the interview. I wish it was, but he's here saying silly stuff once again. So we will listen to the rest of it.
Or Denver or the Clippers. So I think recently we've been playing good basketball and came up short in some close games. Depends on how far back you want to go. I know you asked that question a couple weeks ago, and I think in the last 2 weeks we've played well. These 2 games against Memphis brought a different challenge. They're a high-tempo young team, athletic, and we didn't meet that challenge. But those games that I just mentioned, I wouldn't say that was the case. Just frustration with losing some close games.
So you don't feel like there's something off with this team?
I think it just flipped quick off.
Like I said, I thought.
What do you mean, flipped them off?
Like focus eye.
I didn't even see it, man. Oh my goodness.
Frustration with losing some close games.
So you don't feel like there's something off with this team?
Yeah, don't let him ask another question.
Like I said, I thought the last 2 weeks and those games that I just mentioned, we played good basketball and came up short. Tonight, against Memphis, they outplayed us. They were up and down the court, transition. But I think what you're seeing is the frustration of losing some close games that can take the wind out of your sail.
Terry, you are a clown, bro. How can you sit there and say we're playing well and we're not out of sorts at all and everything's fine, yada yada? We've lost 10 out of 13 games. We just lost the same team twice in a row. God. Anyway, shout out to... I'll let you talk.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Shout out Seamus Shakespeare, another donation. This one's $5. He said, we haven't seen Brooke Olzendam in quite a while with them BioFreeze post-game interviews. Why is she still employed? You saying she doesn't have a job other than do the post-game interviews? I get that it's a joke, but don't be joking about Brooke. Brooke is the best thing this organization has in terms of coverage of the team. So, but she hasn't been able to do her. And you can tell she enjoys doing those post game interviews. She has to be pretty frustrated right now that she can't do one because this team literally can't win a game.
And this just, how many times have you brought this up, Tori? Where it's like this mediocre attitude, like the attitude that settles for mediocrity. It's this guy continues to hammer it home, where it's like, oh, it's okay. It's okay because we're playing better. It's not. Who cares that we're 0-5? We're trying. We only lost by 1 point in some of these games instead of 20. You know, like it's totally okay. And like someone else said this again. He's embodying the "this is fine" meme with the dog sitting there drinking his coffee in the fire. And this is him. This if it was manifested into a person, it's Terry Stotts right now, just sitting there drinking his coffee. This is fine. Nothing to see here.
Oh, yeah,
And,
that's so funny. You're 100% right on that.
Don't try to like grab a bucket of water and try to put out the fire or anything like that. Just keep settling for this mediocrity. And this is why Tori and I have been telling you for years that this guy is not capable of leading a championship contending team to the promised land. He is a fine coach for, like, if you want to fire him and the Orlando Magic pick him up immediately and he sees their rebuild there, that's fine. But like he is not the coach for a team that actually wants to win a championship.
Yep. Shout out Let 'em Eat Cake for a $5 dono. Says, non-Blazer fan here for the first time. You guys even consider it's less thoughts and more bad personnel? Maybe it's time to move CJ and picks for a star. I can definitely tell it's your first time here. Appreciate the dono, but yeah, I can definitely tell it's your first time here with the question that
or it's a troll.
or it's a troll. Either way, you donated, so I appreciate it. And since you donated, no, it's not personnel. We've argued every personnel argument to the ground and are being proven right now with the way this team is playing. I mean, everything we've been saying is not personnel. Like, we have, like, the personnel isn't perfect, and there's some issues that are due to personnel. You know, Enes Kanter and Carmelo Anthony aren't the best defensive front court pairing off the bench, and I've been vocal about that. But, you know, Stotts won't stagger them more so that they're paired together less. Stotts won't, change up the schemes and not have it so that Enes Kanter is being dropped off pick and roll coverage and is dealing with a 2-on-1 going straight at him while he tries to protect the rim. They've occasionally trapped Enes, and he's looked fine doing so, but they rarely decide to do that and instead drop him, which I think is worse for him. I mean, there's so many things that people on the surface will see as personnel, but then if you look beneath the surface, it's issues that are bigger than that. So that's my answer to your question. If it's a legitimate one, if you're trolling, good troll. It's not really that effective of a troll if you donate money. But if not, then I appreciate the donation and the question. Yeah, it's not personnel, it's coaching.
And, we've heard directly out of Stott's mouth, he doesn't know how to use personnel. He mentions a guy like Derrick Jones Jr. has no impact on his defense. We know that he doesn't change his defensive schemes. If it was personnel, let's just say it was. No matter who we put out there, it's looked exactly the same. And, if it was personnel, why would you not be... At this point, when you know your defense sucks, why would you not be trying something different to see if there is another approach to using that personnel? And that's why I will always blame the coach first when they are not even trying to change the attitude or the mindset or the schemes of this team while giving that excuse that it's personnel and that there's nothing much he can do and they're trying their best and all this kind of stuff. So ultimately it might be personnel with a new coach, but for this particular coach, he still has the same schemes he's had for several years now. He hasn't tweaked them or updated them or fit them to his personnel if the personnel is bad. So ultimately that goes right back to the coaching then. So there's no excuse, even if you have the worst personnel in the league, to not even try something different with those guys instead of just running the same game plan out there time and time again, no matter what our opponent is, and then having to hear, oh, well, Memphis is a good fast break team. Well, no crap. Tori and I told you that before the game even started on Friday. It's not like like super complex. There's teams that do different things, and you need to be able to adjust to counteract that. And Stotts is doing none of that.
Yeah. So Cake said he wasn't trolling. I believe him. I don't think he was trolling.
Oh,
Appreciate the dono. Yeah, we just have talked at length about coaching versus personnel to the point that I wouldn't be surprised if somebody came in and trolled us or something with it. We get those from time to time, so I couldn't tell. Appreciate the donation. Sorry for raising the question that it might have been a troll. Hope you have a good night, Cake.
And just real quick, the second part of that. So CJ, I don't know. I kind of want to see the Dame and CJ thing one more year with a different coach, just to see if they can come up with some creative ways to use them, and see if they do things differently on the defensive end, if those guys can be functional in that system. And we've actually seen that before in previous Stotts years, which Stotts supporters bring that up every time you say his defense is terrible. They're like, well, was it terrible 4 years ago when they were 8th or whatever? And Dave and CJ were on those teams then, so I think a different coach who had some creative stuff could do some stuff there, and I don't think it's a case of we need to dump CJ. But even if that's your view, I hate when people just say trade him for an elite wing or trade him for a star or whatever. Like, there's not that many guys available, and the ones that are, those teams don't really need a guy like CJ. They're mostly like rebuilding teams that don't want like a then 30-year-old guard who's making $30 million. So I don't know. It's just there's not a lot of options outside of a team like Milwaukee or something. Just absolutely thinking they need to go a different direction with a Chris Middleton or something, and we do a swap there, just something like that. But I mean, I think those are long shots, even that kind of stuff. So
let him eat cake. Another $5 dono says, wasn't trolling, just watching you guys play. I'm watching Dylan Brooks blow by Dame, and I'm thinking of how he needs a better defensive backcourt mate. And see, I'm not blaming Stotts for Dame getting blown by on the perimeter. That's not what I'm blaming Stotts for, And Dame's a little banged up. He's also, not only banged up, but Stotts has also played him 37, 38, 39 minutes. He's playing him a little bit too much. So, I mean, maybe Stotts even has a factor in that, and him being fatigued. He kind of ran to the ground a little bit. But regardless of that, that's not what we are blaming Stotts for defensively. Of course, the defensive personnel is not perfect. Shout out William Seamus Shakespeare, $2 dono. Since I read off all donos, I'll read this one. He says, "Where is Brandon Goldner? He's a clown. He blocked me on Twitter for absolutely no reason. I was respectful to him, and I told people not to be too hard on him, and he blocked me for it." So, shout out.
Me too.
Yeah, you too. It's just silly. Shout out Let Him Eat Cake for another $2 dono. Says, agree on the not many options response. So, appreciate the donos. Guys, let's watch the rest of this interview. We got 3 minutes left. All but guaranteed to pause it at some point because he's going to say something ridiculous.
Terry, even in that frustration, how on the same page and united do you guys feel like you are, both from a staff and from the players' perspective, on knowing what needs to change in order to change the results?
I think we're very together. I don't know what you mean about the staff, but I think as a team.
I honestly I was reading chat. Let me rehear this question.
Is the frustration of losing some close games that can take the wind out of your sail.
Go ahead, AJ.
AJ always asks those good questions.
Terry, even in that frustration, how on the same page and united do you guys feel like you are, both from a staff and from the players' perspective, on knowing what needs to change in order to change the results?
I think we're
very
smug. Together.
Smug laugh.
I don't know what you mean about the staff, but I think as a team, we're very together. We're committed to winning, and we've come up short in some close games, but which can be a test. Certainly, it can be a test, but I don't think we're caving under that. I think we come out and compete, and like I said, ultimately, I realize the ultimate measure is winning games, and we've fallen short in some close ones.
I just meant you guys as a coaching staff and then the locker room, not any other implication.
Coaching staff, we all get along great.
Dwight James, NBC Sports Northwest.
Terry, they do play with a lot more pace than many teams you see, that's for sure. But their transition game hurt you Friday, and then you come out today and give up 25 fast break points in the first half. Were you disappointed in that response?
Very disappointed. Very disappointed. Give up 25, and some of it. And I will say this: I told the team some of it was connected to our poor offense. I think we were shooting under 30% in the first half. When you don't play good offense and they can get out off of rebounds or turnover, we didn't turn the ball over. But I do think there was a connection between our poor offense and their transition offense. But that being said, it was disappointing in some of their transition that it was a point of emphasis. We saw their transition yesterday with the team. And I guess a positive is that they didn't get a lot in the second half. They only had 8 in the second half, and they still scored 62. So they found ways to score. But to answer your question, yeah, it was very disappointing that they had 25 in the first half.
And last question's coming from Aaron Fentress with the Oregonian.
Coach, you guys have been waiting for a lot of different things this season, trying different things. The losses are piling up. You're sliding down the standings. You're 5-14 against the teams remaining on your schedule. At what point does frustration become desperation?
Well, we're getting close. It's we need to play with a sense of desperation. There's no question. I think we're better when we play like that. But thanks for running down the whole list of what we have, what we've done, and what we've got going forward. But it's at this stage of the season with 12 games left and looking at the standings, there has to be a certain measure of desperation when you play, and that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Thanks.
What is that?
For running down the whole list of what we have.
What does
and
this
I think
mean?
We're better when we play like that. But thanks
what does
for
this
running
mean?
down the whole list of what we have, what we've done, and what we've got going forward. But
what list did Fentress even run down? I'm so confused as to him. Oh God, he's being an asshole too. That's the end of the interview. Eric, thoughts? I'm at a loss for words, man.
I don't understand why. He knows these are going to be the questions. He knows this team is better than this. And he's given these crappy answers all year, and now he's going to act like it's the questions or the reporter's fault. Screw that guy, man. Why do people defend him? I mean, I understand. He might have been a nice guy in the past when things were going great, but this guy's kind of turning on the media too, and I don't know.
I wish he turned on the media earlier, to be honest with you. But we've got some donations to thank.
William Seamus Shakespeare $2 donos.
Wait, I didn't thank Michael Flordelis before that.
Okay.
Wait, where's William? Are we mixed up here? Michael.
He was the one after the last Let Him Eat Cake dono, so I think that one was first.
Oh, I ended up missing Michael's, by the way. So sorry to Michael. Flordelis, $2 dono says, love the way Nurkic is playing right now. First 2-game stretch with 15-plus rebounds. I think we missed that one. I'll just say it again if we didn't say it. I like the way Nurkic is playing right now. That's the one silver lining in these past couple games. And then... Yeah. Do you want to say this one?
Well,
do you want to say this one?
Shakespeare $2 dono. Teletubby Terrence the Terrible, very cantankerous.
I'll let you see. Yeah, no, you pronounced that word. You probably said it better than I could have. I am tripping over all of my words right now. I just hit my phone off my desk. I am out of sorts. Okay, I can admit, Eric, when I am out of sorts. If only our head coach could admit when he is out of sorts and his team is out of sorts, because this team is out of sorts. But apparently, according to him, they're not in a funk. They're not out of sorts. Everything is fine. They're playing well. So we'll see how that goes. Shout out Michael Ormy. I don't know. how it's pronounced. If you could say in chat, maybe I could say it right, because I definitely want to say your name right. He had a $2 dono. His message was retracted. Sadly, I don't know what his message was, but it got retracted. Appreciate the dono. Let him eat cake. Another $2 dono. Says post-game press conferences like this is why I see why you guys are fed up. Yeah, so Cake is not a Blazer fan, just hopping in here randomly. And yeah, we've had a couple clips that have gone, I mean, not viral, but gotten some traction on Twitter just because we're reacting to him saying ridiculous stuff. Yeah, what was it? I forgot. What was it last game, Eric, that he said? That he didn't know if Dame wanted to make or miss the free throw when there was 2.5 seconds left when we were down 2.
Yeah. He wanted him to make it, but he didn't communicate that.
Yeah, he didn't tell Dame to make it.
Nor did he know if Dame tried to make it or not.
Yep. So, yeah. Oh, my goodness, man. Shout out Jimmy Cleveland, $5 dono. Says, I think Melo and Cantor, Dame, and CJ would be great if they had a different coach to bring out the best for their own game. Yeah, I mean, next season I do want a defensive 4 and a defensive 5. Hopefully one of those is Zach Collins, a healthy Zach Collins on a cheap contract. Probably a qualifying offer, and then hopefully the other is a defensive 4 or 5. We have some flexibility at that position. Maybe the defensive 4 can be Nas off the bench, and maybe Derrick Jones Jr. is the 3 off the bench. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how this offseason goes. It could be a ton of roster change. It could be not much, but I don't want those guys paired together. Let's just say that. But I do think a different head coach would be better for Melo, especially Dame and especially CJ. Those 3 could get easier shots if they had a better system that was designed to get them better shots, if that makes sense.
Yep. I agree.
So anyway, sorry, I'm scramble-brained right now. We got to wrap up the stream, I think, because you got to go get your vaccine. Correct?
Yep. In a few minutes, I need to go.
Yep. So we're going to wrap up the stream. A little shorter stream. A little weird to be streaming at this time of day. My room is so dark, I feel like I'm going to walk outside and it's going to be night because that's what I'm used to after streams. But no, it's only 5:13 right now. So Eric's going to go get vaccinated. I'm going to go work. I'm going to go do some DoorDash.
Can I just? There's been a lot of questions about this in chat. So about the 3-guard lineup working next year, I think under a new coach, I think it would be fine. Also, you have a healthy Nurk. If you have Collins, maybe you start a bigger lineup. So you have 2 like Collins and Nurk, but then 3 guards or something like that. There's a lot of creative stuff you can do with Rocco as well. He can play big or bigger than he is. And so there's a lot of stuff you can do. But here's the thing. Quick the other day said Powell re-signing was about 40% chance. And people have used that to kill Olshey, of course. But once again, we saw this last offseason where Rocco, or a lot of people were saying Olshey's just going to sit on his hands and do nothing, and we're going to have the same team or whatever. And then, like a day later, we traded for Rocco, and then we traded for Cantor, and we made a bunch of moves. And then everyone was like, "Oh wait, he's actually making moves this year." And now they're once again trying to preemptively say just because Quick said there was only a 40% chance that why did we trade for Powell? We're not even going to re-sign him. He's going to leave and all this kind of stuff. But on top of that, so you've got the people that not only say that, but then they say if we do re-sign Powell, it can't work like financially, or is that a smart decision? Well, we're over the cap regardless. So if Powell walks, we don't have that $20 million to spend on someone else in free agency. We would have to then try and find cheaper replacements, and that's going to be a lot harder to do. So I think worst case scenario, you try to re-sign Powell and you see if it can work. But if not, I mean, it leaves the option. Powell's going to have trade value. CJ, you could always decide to trade him at a later time. It doesn't have to happen this offseason. So I'd be fine rolling with those 3 guys into next season. especially if the talent around those three are fine. Mm-hmm. And you could also, once you re-sign them, it's not quite the same situation as this year where you feel you kind of have to start him to do that. So you might be able to bring one of those guys off the bench too, eventually. But it opens up a lot more doors. So I think you should go after re-signing Powell, whether you think the 3-guard lineup can work or not, just because it opens up so many more avenues of improving the team at a later date if you do that. Whereas if you don't decide to sign Powell just because you don't want to trade CJ or whatever, or you don't think O'Shea will trade CJ, then I think you're missing a big opportunity down the road.
Yep. We'll have you covered on the offseason.
Mm-hmm.
We will have you covered on the offseason. We know the CBA, so if you're new to our channel and haven't been through like an offseason or trade deadline with us, me and Eric have both studied the CBA. We know the CBA as good as any way. That covers the Blazers probably better. So, I mean, I can all but guarantee better. But that's only because we try. That's only because we've been nerds as fans and have studied it. We're the nerdy types of fans too, not just the guys who break down the X's and O's. So we'll have you covered on some of the roster construction possibilities and basically just the off season as we head into it. I'll have more information on what I've talked about some of the stuff we're going to do in the off season. No point to really talk about it right now, but once we get there, I will have some ideas for set forth, and should be a good off season basically. Anyway, I've been tripping over my words all stream. Okay. Yeah. I think it's time for us to sign off. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Eric, I hope and don't get your shoulder muscle ripped out by a needle. Go get the vaccine, man. The arm will be sore for a couple days, probably. That's what mine was, but I had no side effects when I got mine, so. Hopefully you don't have to deal with any of the side effects. Either way is definitely worth it. And yeah, I mean, as we continue to get the population vaccinated, that puts things on the table for the community, such as game meetups next year. Maybe we'll do a couple watch parties, and we'll do some pickup runs in the summer, and maybe we'll have Rip City 3-on-3. So lots of stuff to look forward to.
Oregon's either about to or just did approve a 5-on-5 basketball game with masks.
With masks, yeah. So, yeah, we'll have you guys covered. Thank you for the support you have given us tonight and the support that you always give us. Thank you to my mods for helping police the chat. Shout out to Reese, Trevin, and Zach. I think I only saw Reese, and yeah. So hopefully the other two are going well. They always do a great job for us. I know Sunday games were a little bit harder, but yeah.
They were both in here earlier.
Oh, Zach was in here. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
Zach's right.
So Zach says love everyone. I appreciate you, Zach. I appreciate you, Reese. I appreciate you, Trevin. I appreciate all of you that support us. I am so scramble brained right now, man. Do you have anything left to say, Eric? Because I'm just gonna hit the outro because I don't want to butcher it that bad.
Just want to tell Zach I hope everything's okay with his situation. Haven't heard an update on that, so.
Yep. I 100% hope everything works out, Zach. I saw what you're dealing with right now. Hopefully everything's good and it sorts itself out in a positive way. But anyway, I appreciate you guys for tuning in, making us a part of your Sunday. We will be live tomorrow on Blazers Uprise Live. That's our second channel. The link to that channel is in the description box below. We will have picks against the spread, and maybe I don't know what else we'll talk about. I mean, we'll figure something else to talk about after picks against the spread. But definitely go subscribe to that second channel if you haven't already. Follow us on Twitter at Torrey Jones YT for me, at Hoopsjock for Eric, at Blazers Uprise YT for the channel. And until next time, we'll see you later. As always, peace out. Go Blazers.